What's up, agents? Wolf here. Welcome to another Division 2 video. Today's video is going to be quite special. I'm going to showcase my top 4 builds right now in the game that I use all the time to farm multiple parts of PVE. So please make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So the 4 builds are going to be the ones that I mainly use. Now, obviously, it's going to be situational to you, and you must always adapt the build to suit your playstyle, but it also depends what content you play. I don't normally do the raid. There are different sections for that. I'm sure you guys can YouTube some other builds that might be better for the raid. This is going to be more for like control point farming, legendary missions, solo as well, and in a group. So let's go through the first one. This is going to be the one I probably use the most playing solo or in a group. This is my best crit damage build. Now, there are many ways you can run a setup like this. I'm going to try and make this video as quick as possible. I don't want to talk too long about each setup because I have made videos on these builds separately. If you guys want to see those, it will be more detailed. I will leave links in the description for these setups. There might be 1 or 2 changes, but it's mostly the same, I would imagine. I will double check for you guys, and if there's anything that changed, I will put something in the description. This build is quite simple. We have got Contractor's Gloves and Fox's Prayer rolled with crit chance. That's for the multiplicative damage to targets out of cover and armor damage. This can be situational, as I've mentioned before. The situation is whether or not the enemy is in cover or you're actually shooting an enemy that has armor. It's all dependent on your game play and where you're playing. But in general, this will be the best option. Now, you can go for other ones like Improvised for more crit damage. That is completely up to you. I've gone for an all red setup, hence why I'm not using Picaros. This is quite simple. I've got the Technician specialization with linked laser pointer to proc the talent right here called Perfect Flatline, and for the Spotter talent on the chest piece. I've also got Vigilance to give me that extra damage. This is all crit damage with an improvised holster, which you're going to have to craft. So with this, just make sure you guys put crit chance and crit damage on everything. It's quite simple. I would not have my crit chance less than 55%. I got 59 and 161% crit damage. It is quite decent, but it is a simple build. Let's go through quickly all the pieces, and I will be showcasing some gameplay while I'm explaining the build just to make it go a bit faster because I don't want this video to be an hour long. It could easily be that long. So we can hit over 1.1 million damage a crit all the time. But the nice thing about this build as well is that multiplicative damage does apply to a lot of situations. But like I said, it's up to you on what mission you're playing. But in general, I think this just covers all the parts of the game. So the Kingbreaker is good. You can use the FAMAS with Optimist. It's really up to you what gun you want to go for. I use a sniper with it, the Nemesis, and also the Orbit pistol for extra crit damage. Grupo Mask, we've got crit damage modification with crit chance, crit damage. The Fenris for the extra weapon damage to my assault rifle. Obviously, this is dependent on what kind of weapon you're going to be using. We have crit damage, crit chance with the crit damage modification. With Spotter, this is amplified damage. Very, very good. It works with a linked laser pointer. One of the best talents in the game for damage on the chest piece. Then I have got the improvised holster, which you guys are going to have to roll. Crit damage, crit chance. You can put a modification on here, 12%. That increases my crit damage quite substantially. The backpack is Cheska for extra crit chance. Very nice. Crit damage, crit chance, crit damage modification with Vigilance. Lots of damage there. It is probably a must use. Then the 2 here, crit chance and crit chance for the Contractors, and then the Fox's Prayer. So we have got the decoy, which is great for getting attention away from you. This works well in a group or playing solo. It gives you an extra chance to put out damage without getting shot back, especially in legendary missions. Then the shield, and then that's it. This build is great if you want a all-out damage setup. This next build is actually arguably going to be the strongest build in the Division 2. This is going to be my crit damage skill build. Now, we can hit hard with our weapon and also dish out huge amounts of damage with our skills. We're going to be using the Technician specialization to give us 1 extra skill tier to have a red on one of the pieces, which is going to be the backpack. Now, with this setup, I haven't just gone for skill utility. I've gone for weapon damage as well, hence why it's yellows and reds rather than just yellows. The main reason being is because we have skill damage. We don't really need skill haste or skill duration because we have got the turret and the drone, which are they're long lasting, and you will clear a room solo in any content in the game or in a group, whatever it may be, very quickly and efficiently with this setup. You don't even have to shoot your gun, but the combination of shooting and the skills doing damage is almost unmatched. The damage you can output with this is insane. So before we get into it, you can obviously use kinetic momentum, but this does way more damage, as I've mentioned before, and it's worth the risk because of the safety net mechanic in the game, which prevents you from being one-shotted. So just keep that in mind. Or even multiple shots to your body when you've got no armor. The game allows you to recover. So we have got the capacitor for extra skill damage. You guys know the drill. Very simple. Just to put in context here, we have got a lot of crit chance and crit damage on this gun, which makes it very good for damage as well while you're shooting. The scalpel to increase my skill tier if I want to get overcharge. Now that's up to you how many skill tiers and reds or blues you have on the setup. It really is up to you. This, in case I run out of ammo, I can just proc in sync, let my skills do the work, and then just pop up my pistol, pop a shot off every now and again. Then we have got the holy grail of skill damage builds, which is the 3-piece Empress, guys, with crit chance or crit damage and skill damage, depending on what your crit damage number or crit chance number is. That is what I'm going to be rolling on everything. This comes with skill health, skill damage, and efficiency, which is basically everything. These 3 pieces together are a must. As you guys can see, skill damage, crit chance, then skill damage, crit chance. Very, very nice. Chest piece, Wyvern for skill damage. Easy to see that. Then we have got skill haste. I would try and go for crit damage here. I need to farm a better chest piece. Then skill damage here on the attribute. Then crit chance, 5.9% with glass cannon. Definitely recommend this. It works great. Then this, I would only use the waveform holster if you're going to be using 2 damage skills, which I have got, because it alternates the damage. You get a lot of utility and damage from this holster. Must use. Then Fenris for baseline weapon damage increase for my assault rifle. Depends on what gun you're going to be using, but I recommend using the capacitor. It is definitely the best. You might argue saying, what about perfect in sync? It's still not as good as this, but it's really up to you. The differences are not that much. So I would just go for the capacitor, but it really is on you how you want to be playing this. You can also use combined arms for the talent. It depends on how you want to be playing. I prefer tech support because my skills can get the kills. It doesn't just depend on me always having to shoot, because you do get in trouble sometimes and you want your skills to do the work for you sometimes as well. Skill damage and crit chance rolled here. Assault rifle damage. The gloves and the knees we've spoken about. This setup is great with the turret and the drone. Guys, you can do massive amounts of damage. I've showed this build before. It is one of my go-tos for, especially in a group. Playing solo, it shreds. Very, very powerful. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of these setups. Do you have them? Or are you going to make them? Let's move on to the next build. This setup is by far my favorite. I use this build a lot for playing solo or in a group. I love the Pestilence, and the combination of the Pesty and Umbra is amazing with that extra RPM. We can proc the Pestilence very quickly, and the healing from the bag is definitely worth it. So the Pestilence with gunner specialization, we get armor on kill, which is very nice. I use the Kingbreaker as my secondary, but I don't know why this is actually here. Use something else. You can go for whatever gun you want. Just remember, we don't have the linked laser pointer because we cannot pulse them. We don't have technician specialization. So just put like a FAMAS with Optimus there. Then we've got the Orbit pistol. The 4-piece is great. If you guys don't know how this works, you should by now. We get crit chance, reload speed. You stack it up. While you're out of cover, you stack the healing element. So when you go in cover, you get healed. Then when you're in cover, you stack the damage element. When you go out of cover, you get the increased RPM. And the great thing about this is we actually get critical damage, which is really, really good. So we get 1% critical damage increase and 0.3% RPM. So I do recommend with this setup to go for crit damage or crit chance in every attribute. With all crit damage mods, unless you need extra crit chance, don't go below 54%. The chest piece is a must because we increase the stacks from 50 to 100 and stack gain from 10 to 20. The bag gives us the survivability element of this setup. Not just damage, but we can heal incredibly well. This is why I love this build so much. The damage over time with the Pestilence ticks and the healing capabilities make this a top tier build. So this allows us to heal a lot more. So make sure you definitely use this. Like I said before, if you want more of a breakdown with these builds, I will leave links in the description. Go and click it to watch the full video that I've posted. Then we have, probably the best pieces to go for. Like I always say, you could think to yourself, let's go for Grupo, let's go for crit chance or crit damage. No, baseline weapon damage is always better because it's a normal baseline weapon increase when you're non-crit and when you crit. You're only going to be critting 60% of the time if you're lucky. So baseline weapon damage is better. Even though we have gone for damage to armor, like I said, it's situational, but I see the benefit of using this. We get LMG damage from the Contractor's Gloves rolled crit chance here. Then the holster Picara's 15% weapon damage. You don't have to use this, but I recommend it. Skill haste does help with the Defender drone right here, which I'm using, which allows you to put more stacks on the NPCs, especially playing solo legendary, which this build is capable of doing. Then the decoy. So this is probably my favorite out of all the 4. Maybe not the one I use the most. The damage one is probably the one I use the most, but I kind of alternate all the time. It's sometimes difficult to keep track. Here are all the actual attributes. Let me know what you guys think, and let's move on to the 4th and final setup. The final setup is perfect for solo players. This is what I use to go for solo legendary missions or the summit. It works great in the summit game mode. Any content in the game playing solo, this is a must try. So we've got 1.5 million armor because we need to make use of the armor regeneration from the memento. You guys know memento. It is a must use. You collect trophies, you get a lot from it. And we have high regen, high weapon damage, and high skill efficiency. It's a very, very good thing to use playing solo if you are unaware of that. We also are using the technician with the Kingbreaker. So we get that massive amounts of damage from the perfect flatline, plus the perfect spotter talent, which is better than the normal one if you want to run a blue build, because it is difficult. You know, you get total armor, which goes hand in hand with the tankiness and with the armor regen from the memento bag. So this is going to be great. I recommend using this. And also we got Fenris for extra AR damage, the Uzina, perfect variation chest piece with perfect spotter. Then we have got Picaros with a blue, and we have got skill, haste, and weapon damage 15%. Then instead of going for the situational Contractors and Fox's Prayer this time, I've gone for Cheska for extra crit chance and Grupo for extra crit damage. So overall, this is the build that I always use playing solo. Every piece is going to have crit damage and crit chance on it with a crit damage modification across the board. It just depends on what your crit chance is. Currently on this setup, I've got 59.2 with 142% crit damage. When we get the armor regen up, it goes up quite a lot, so you can survive so much. We also get a lot of skill tiers for the shield. The shield currently is a tier 6, which is really, really nice. This setup works incredibly well. Not only do you dish out huge amounts of damage, but if you're a new player, you will really feel the power of this build. The regen gives you high survivability. You get the trophies, which gives you bonus armor as well, high weapon damage. And this is what I use all the time. You can mow down NPCs and just run through and blitz through any hardcore gameplay in the game, any kind of difficult PVE. So let me know what you guys think of these 4 setups. Which one is your favorite? Do you agree with some of my choices? I know everyone's different, so just keep that in mind, and also dependent on what kind of missions you're going to be playing. But let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. A PvP variation for the upcoming season update will be posted after this build, because as you guys know, there are raid exotics which are going into the dark zone, so you need to make a build that allows you to deal with players and NPCs in the dark zone. I will post that this week, so I'll see you guys very soon in the next video. Peace out.